We start with breaking news for you this Friday morning. One person is dead and another wounded after a shooting on campus at Casper College. This is in Casper, Wyoming. The entire campus is locked down right now. Police have one person in custody and will bring you updated information as it becomes available to us. Right now, the fiscal cliff talks are breaking down. Within the last hour, President Obama took the fight outside Washington, D.C. to this toy factory in Pennsylvania. New for you at 11, the Arapahoe County coroner confirms the identity of the man who was shot and killed by an Aurora police officer inside this home on Tuesday. 55-year-old Cecil Cochran died from internal injuries due to a gunshot to the chest. Police say Cochran was armed with a machete and a knife and cut two of the three officers who were called to the home by concerned family members. This just in, we now know who the lucky winners of part of the $588 million Powerball jackpot are. A Missouri mechanic and his wife were introduced to the media within the last 30 minutes, and you will hear from them a little later in this newscast. But returning now to our top story, in just the past 30 minutes, the president finished touring a toy factory in the Philadelphia suburbs. It's an American business the White House says could be affected if income taxes go up for everyone on January 1st. The president is using today's visit to try to pressure Congress into making a deal.
In Washington, nothing's easy, so there's going to be some prolonged negotiations. And all of us are going to have to get out of our comfort zones to make that happen. I'm willing to do that. I'm hopeful that enough members of Congress in both parties are willing to do that as well.
Tyler Lopez is taking a closer look at what the White House is proposing. And Tyler, we're seeing a lot of finger pointing between Republicans and Democrats.
We are, Bertha, all with some real pressure, too. Caution America, fiscal cliff approaching. The deadline is New Year's Eve before automatic spending cuts and tax increases take effect. And President Obama says he's got a new plan. But so far, Republicans are at least unimpressed. This is the deal. Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner brought it on Thursday. It's $1.6 trillion in tax increases over the next 5 years. $50 billion in additional stimulus spending, $400 billion in unspecified Medicare cuts over the next decade, and no more debt limit for the federal government. A staffer for the Speaker of the House called it completely unrealistic.
But without spending cuts and entitlement reforms, it's going to be impossible to address our country's debt crisis.
Now is the time for the Republicans to move past this happy talk about revenues, ill-defined, of course, and put specifics on the table.
That kind of back and forth talk is exactly why the president left the Beltway. In Pennsylvania today at Kinex, a toy parts maker, he said he'd sign a tax cut extension for the middle class, but will increase taxes on the wealthy. He's hoping the public will now urge Republicans to make a deal. Bertha?
All right, thanks for the update. We appreciate that, Tyler. The Denver Post is reporting that Colorado could lose more than $2 billion if a deal isn't reached. Defense contractors, education, and healthcare industries would take a big hit from lost revenue and federal funding. According to the report, 18,000 defense contracting jobs are on the line. 6,600 jobs could be lost in healthcare. In a matter of hours, a man found guilty of sexually assaulting a woman at Denver International Airport will learn his fate. 28-year-old Noel Bertrand was convicted in September. Security video shows Bertrand and the victim walking together on one of the concourses moments before the attack in 2011. Two airline employees came to her rescue and called police. Bertrand will be in court in just about 2.5 hours, and 7 News will have a crew there. We'll let you know what's decided just as soon as the sentence is handed down. 7 News is confirming a plea deal may be close in the case of a hostage standoff at a Denver Radio Shack. The standoff happened here on Colfax Avenue in early September. 19-year-old Tavion Williams and 23-year-old Michael Annan each face 3 felony counts, including attempted murder, kidnapping, and robbery. At a hearing a few hours ago, the DA told the judge that a plea deal is near. That could happen at a hearing, which is now scheduled for January. Only on 7 News, a shooting suspect is caught by Denver police. Exclusive video shows the suspect having his face swabbed for evidence by a crime scene investigator. The shooting took place blocks away at 13th and Xenia around 6:45 last night. The victim, who was shot multiple times, made it 6 blocks to 14th and Boston in Aurora. He is listed in stable condition now at a nearby hospital. Police tell us they believe the shooting is gang-related. The search for Dylan Redwine is still developing. Investigators have been searching the home of the 13-year-old's father. This video from the Durango Herald shows police executing a search warrant at Mark Redwine's home in Bayfield. That's where Dylan was last seen more than a week ago. The La Plata County Sheriff's Office says Mark Redwine is not considered a suspect, but since his house is where the teenager was last seen, they want to do a more thorough search. Greeley police are investigating the possible attempted abduction of a 19-year-old woman. She says she was walking through a parking lot in the 1100 block of 10th Avenue when a man grabbed her arm and tried to pull her to a car. She was able to get away. She says her attacker was driving a brown, newer model car about the size of a Honda Accord or Toyota Camry. This November is one of the driest and warmest on record here in Colorado, and it's threatening our water levels. We went to Dillon Reservoir to check things out for you, and you can see mountaintops without any snow, and the water level is down. The latest numbers from Denver Water show the entire water supply is 15% lower than at this time last year.
Why not issue some sort of a mandatory reduction or awareness campaign?
Well, right now we do want customers to be aware that it's very dry and that we were in a drought this past summer. And in terms of indoor use, we are always asking customers to be efficient. So outdoor use takes a lot of water, but people aren't really watering outdoors right now. So as we move into spring, that's when we'll look at if more reductions need to take place outdoors.
We have no mandatory restrictions at this time. We checked, but Denver Water is encouraging water conservation with a use only what you need type of attitude. Let's